lot of athletes as well as their families that are expecting that, okay, you can run real fast. So I'm thinking Olympics, I'm thinking face on the Wheaties box, Dancing with the Stars, all that good stuff. So, the hell with all the other things. This is what you're going to do 24/7, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How do we take that out of the equation or reduce that out of the equation? Is that possible? I know that sounds like a dingbat question, but do you think that's
It
possible?
depends on. I think it depends on the sport. I mean, you got your big money sports, basketball, football, but I think about someone like Simone Biles. Now, this young lady, she's rewriting the history book when it comes to gymnastics. Okay, so she's probably going to get a truckload of gold medals this year.
Yep.
And so, but what's next for her? I mean, there's no professional gymnastics league. She won't. She may get endorsements, and I'm sure she will. But again, I mean, after a while, there's the pot of gold at the end of her rainbow is small compared to that of, say, like a Jalen Hurts who plays quarterback for the University of Oklahoma.
Sure.
So I guess it depends on the sport.
Okay.
And again, even in basketball and football, at the end of the day, there's only a handful of athletes that are going to really get the quote unquote big money.
Well, and that's a good point, Ryan. And let me ask you this, because you get to talk to a lot of coaches and things in your role as a broadcaster in Texas. And are you aware of any program that sits those athletes down and says, look, let me give you the reality of what it is? One of the things that we used to say back on the East Coast, when you were looking at basketball, for example, you probably had 10,000 people in the city of Baltimore who were ballers. You generally could play. However, so did Philly, so did Los Angeles, so did Kansas City. So your odds of making the NBA were dwindling, every time you put another city in the mix. Does anyone sit down with these kids and say, look, this is fun and you're running the ball real fast and you're doing all these things, but son or young lady, let me sit you down and tell you the reality of making it to the WNBA or the reality of making it to the NFL that you're aware of?
I'm not aware that those conversations are taking place. And unfortunately, if I was a gambling man, I would say that those conversations are not taking place, especially in a place like Texas. We do have athletes that they have there. What's really nice is that there are some athletes that were from El Paso that made it to the pros. Guys like Ray Mickens, who played for Burgess High School.
Sure.
I'm sorry, he played for Andrews High School here in El Paso. Went on to play for the Jets, played for the Browns. He has a football camp. Brian Young, who played for the Rams and the Saints, he has a football camp. So it's at those football camps where hopefully those conversations are taking place about having a plan B. In other words, if the football team doesn't work out,
I love it.
What is your fallback position? What do you plan to do for the rest of your life?
I love it.
So I think that's where those conversations take place.
Well, Ryan, that's an excellent point, and that's a great place for us to take a break because we want to talk about Plan B, and we also want to talk about some other sports, basketball, gymnastics, that are also pushing kids to be all they can be, if you will. So when we get back from the break, we're going to talk some additional sports, but also we want to talk about Plan B. So keep it locked. We'll be right back.
Straight no chaser talk radio. Other shows water down the issues. We only serve the hard stuff.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
The path to happiness is not the easy one, but taking drugs will not make it easier. Many people got lost and end up losing their life to drugs. If you or anyone that you know is within that path, don't be afraid to seek for help. Visit www.adk.gov.my for information related to drug abuse. So, know your path. This message is brought to you by the National Anti-Drugs Agency.
In our world, in our country, and in our cities, on our streets, in the alleys behind our homes, there are orphans, foster and homeless children who are the victims of child abuse and neglect. Hello, I'm Malcolm McDowell. Now, 80% of these children will end up homeless, and 60% will end up in prison without our help. They're good kids with bad parents, or no parents at all. They feel helpless, unloved, and full of despair. Oftentimes thrust into a world where dangerous influences lurk to prey upon their innocence. Safety Harbor Kids has developed a solution to help these children.
Safety Harbor Kids helped me get a job.
Safety Harbor Kids let me know someone cares.
Safety Harbor Kids helped me go to college.
Help change your child's life forever by supporting safetyharborkids.org today.
Hey, folks, we are back. Thank you for joining us on Straight No Chaser. If you're coming back, you know we're talking about high school athletics. And do we push the kids too hard? You know, do we? What are we doing? What's happening with that? And we've been talking to Ryan Adams, who's been, you know, running it down, you know, giving it to us. He's all the way in El Paso, Texas. Telling us how they do things, not only there, but, you know, throughout the states. And so, you know, the question remains, I've been playing with Facebook Live and talking with people, playing with them on Facebook Live, and some talking about, you know, I'm asking the question, you know, do we push the kids too hard? You know, are we pushing them too hard? Are we trying to live vicariously through our kids? Are we trying to, you know, get our dreams back? And how things are going. So, of course, you know, some folks are saying, you know what? More skills training and less games is always better. That's what Aaron had to say about high school sports. Now, he played high school sports. He was, you know, before they had all kinds of superstar stuff going on, he was just big and strong. So he was just big and strong. Aaron just would come through and just tear stuff up. But, you know, when I played in high school, now our team was terrible because we were starting all over again. All of us knew not one of us was going to the pros. Not one. But we played against some people who did. We helped them fill their highlight reel.
They were pros who,
when they dunk the ball and they're like with a pair of knees in their head. We were the ones.
Wait a minute, when did they do all that with Double Dutch?
You're so funny. I'll have you know, son. We were doing some things. We started all over again. See, we went back to high school. We started over from the 9th grade, so we didn't have all those other grades above us. We had to kind of build up. So every other year we were great.
All right.
But you know,
what school was that?
That was Baltimore City College High School. Yes, I know.
Oh no.
See, I look at. I knew that would hurt Ryan.
Oh no.
But we played, but at home there were only a couple of schools where anybody really thought of going anywhere pro, and they would beat the crap out of Dunbar with Wells out every year. But I said, yeah, I used to play with them. Yeah, I played with Muggsy. Yeah, I played with Dave Wingate. Yeah, I did in high school. But
wait a minute, then, Bad. Let's back up just very quickly.
Okay, let's back up.
You played against Wingate and Muggsy and all those guys?
Yes.
Did you in what?
Yeah.
In what movie or dream?
No,
was that?
Man. In high school when we were at City.
No, I mean really.
I'm telling you, they were all on the same team.
No, I mean,
Muggsy.
Were you playing in the band or what were you doing?
Before he went to Dunbar, huh?
You playing in the band? What were you doing?
Basketball, man.
Oh, basketball. Okay, all right, brother.
Basketball. But we were playing. We were trying to play. They were wearing us out. But We didn't have any delusions of grandeur. We knew we weren't going. I mean, we all were trying to be Dr. J, while we were on the court, but we knew we weren't going. We said, you better study a little more. And it was more recreational, but now it's like big business. Folks aren't playing. It is huge business now. So, the conversations you all were alluding to about, with all this talk now about whether or not we're going to pay college players and that kind of thing, what's that effect? How does that trickle down on the high school level? So it's going to have an effect, but how widespread or how deep, or what's that change going to be, or what are they going to put in place on the high school level to kind of so it doesn't get ridiculous on that level too. But I don't know what do you think the future holds for that kind of stuff, right? I mean, where are we headed? Are we headed to somewhere dangerous, or is this just we ought to just buckle our seats?
Let me give you an idea. Let me give you an idea where we are in 2019.
Okay.
And about to go into 2020. The highest paid employees in just about every school district are your football head coaches. There is a school district in West Texas where the coaches fly into El Paso on private jets.
Wow.
Wait
a minute. Hold on, Ryan. Say that one more time, because that needs to sink in.
Not the coaches. I misspoke. The broadcasters for this high school football team.
Wow.
The broadcasters flying on private jets, and the pilot of that private plane is also their spotter. The team rolls into town on these beautiful luxury charter buses. I mean, now keep in mind, this is the only game in town in Odessa or in Midland. That's all they've got is their high school football team. These stadiums, they're like cathedrals. And at the college level, the highest paid state employee in the state of Alabama is Nick Saban. So it comes from the top down. The money is just, it's ridiculous. And we won't even talk about the boosters. And it's amazing when I go from high school to high school, I can tell just by what they serve us in the press box. Sometimes we're lucky to get bottled water. Other schools serving in El Paso, they're serving lobster and steak in the press box because these boosters, they pour all kinds of money into the school programs. You got coaches making six figures. And what are the teachers making? So the emphasis on sports, it comes from the top down. And it's big money, both in the college level and in the high school.
Wow. That's pretty wow. Well, Ryan, one of the things that we were talking about before we left was we wanted to talk a little bit about some other sports besides football. We want to talk a little bit about gymnastics. And that's another sport that is is really exploding, particularly here in the United States now. It used to be dominated by, the Russians